Good boy. Hey, everybody. Let me scratch. All right, now bear with me just a second. I always got to figure out how to do this here. We got to go to Krakow. Hey, buddy. What a good Pablo. What a good Pablo. Yeah. There he is, everybody. Mwah. Love you, big man. Mwah. Love you. Oh. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh. You want Chloe to take you out real quick? You want Chloe to take you out real quick, yeah? You want Chloe to take you out? 1 second, everybody. Let me just do this. Good boy. What a good Pablo. Yes, you are. All right. So now, Pablo, what we're going to do is this is the chat area. Ooh, well, what happened, man? Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Pablo. Don't go anywhere, Pablo. Don't you run off, big man. Don't you run off. Boink. All right. There we go. Don't you run off, Pablo. You know I love you forever. But what am I so afraid of? All right. So, pause. We're going to go here now so we can see the, where am I going here? We're going to go right there. All right. I'm trying to get the chat box up. All right. Let's click on that guy right there. All right. What the heck, man? All right. So now, Pablo, we're going to go over here. All right. That looks good. And I think we go here. Oops. We go to here. Where do we go, Pops? I can't ever get this right. Is that what I want to do here? Ooh, good boy. I'm not sure. Hold on just a second, guys. I'm trying to get the chat to pop out. Okay, there we go. All right, sweet. Hey, Harry. All right, there we go. Looks like we're good. All right, cool. Close. All right, cool. Hey, Harry, Spectator, Jill, James Booner Kempe. All right. All right. Phil Labre. And Pablo, do we get to meet Charlotte someday? Tom, I just sent you my book, by the way. I don't know if you got the email. I put in the mail. Yes. Well, I didn't. I ordered it off Amazon and put in the mail. Nashville, Tennessee. You guys are in a good spot here, huh? With the Tennessee Titans, looks like they're going to take on. They're going to take on Kansas City, and I'm pulling for Tennessee. Norm, I haven't seen you here before that I'm aware of, so good on you. Kevin Stewart, Daniel, all right. Pablo, everyone's saying hi to Pablo. Harry, hey, that's right. Will you see Charlotte one day? Man, maybe I'm not even married. Maybe it's all just a joke. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I hire her for my pictures on occasion. I don't know, man. I one day, Phil, I was able to get her to at least agree to being on a video. And then something happened, with the kids or with this guy right here, Pablo, or something. I can't remember what it was. And she changed her mind. Like 30 minutes later, sorry, let's jump on. She goes, I don't want to do it. I was like, what? I was like, man, come on, man. Everyone, yeah. Well, she's just like Pablo, though. The minute you all see her and then Pablo, no one would want to see me anymore. D. Crotchy, right on. Happy Sunday. Hey. From a real happy Chiefs fan. Yeah, Margaret, I tell you, I was watching that game. It was down 24-0. I said, all right. I'm look, after the Pats beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl, I'm not silly enough, especially in the new NFL, the pass happy NFL, to say any of these games are over. But I was down literally for the first time doing squats with 25-pound plates. So I was doing I haven't done squats in probably 9 to 12, probably almost 9 months or so. 25 5-pound plates on each side, which that's 95 pound squats. I come back up after doing some sets, and Liam, my son, says it's 28-24. I'm thinking, how could it be 28-24 when it's 24-0? I mean, how did the Titans the Texans get two safeties? He goes, no, it's the Chiefs. I said, the Chiefs got 4 touchdowns in like 13 minutes of the second quarter. It's crazy. Anyway, Chiefs look good, man. Catherine says she only comes for you, Pablo. So here we go. There it is. Hello, world. It is me. You see my nostrils. Look, he's got that perma smile. I love you, buddy. Well, did I ever show you guys that scratch he's got right there? That's from when he was in his I guess his previous owner. I don't know what happened to him. He got dragged by a car or something like that, scratched up. Only come for the Pablo. Bruce, right on, man. Great. Are you all getting snow up there, Bruce? Right on, Sergio. Marie, yeah, Marie from Pennsylvania. Christina Day, Christina, I remember you. Corey Graham, right on. All right, 49er fan, right on. No, I'm the 49ers are going to play the Seahawks. We know the Seahawks are going to spank Green Bay today, I guarantee. And thus I'm going for the 49ers because I hate the Seahawks. I never hated Richard Sherman. I was always a fan of Richard Sherman. Now he's with the 49ers. It doesn't bother me. I can't stand freaking, what's his name? Freaking Pete Carroll. I can't stand that guy. How many kids' lives has he ruined when he was a coach at USC? Freaking scumbag. I cannot stand that guy. Of course, I get it. College football permeates lots of evil behavior by these guys who don't give two craps about the guy who's the athlete. That's why I think these guys should get paid, because they're being used and abused by the young men are being used and abused by guys like freaking stinking Pete Carroll, who know better. And they know, like, once you're freaking you can't serve his purpose anymore, you're gone. But Josh, they get a free education. Screw all that stuff, man. That ticks me off. College football players and basketball players, the revenue producers. No, volleyball doesn't produce revenue. Baseball doesn't produce revenue. The two revenue producers are football and basketball. They should get paid. End of story. I think Ed O'Bannon set that and now it's coming. I think they are going to get paid to some, or at least they can get paid now or something like that, but they should get paid for sure. Corey, yeah, right on, man. So Corey says an amazing couple encouraged him to join. All right. John B, all right, from Indiana, right on, man. Nathan's in the house, right on. Worcester, right on. Let's see here. I'm new, have watched your videos, but never live. Right on, Norm. Glad to have you. Rainings in the islands for 7 straight, says my man Starling. So Hawaii Islands, 7 straight days of rain. At least I'll put out the volcanoes, right? Looks like Pablo. Hold on, he's trying to get out. Hold on a second. There you go, big man. All right, there you go. Good boy. Ooh. Actually, Chloe could take him out real quick, too, babe. Thank you. All right. Yeah, so just for those of you who are Norm, at a new here, like my man Norm, Tom says, feel free to ask a question here, Josh, or one of the mods like Tom or my man Jerry, and I think Al might have an answer or an opinion too. Exactly. So if you do ask a question, I ramble, I get it. And some of my questions, sometimes I'll get to all the questions. And then, I will, but then sometimes it might not be for, 15 minutes after you ask it. And so you don't need to keep repeating it if you are going to do that, just because I do get to them for sure. Denise, right on. Welcome aboard. We got Kathy is here. Hey, Kathy from Florida. All right. Huntsville, Alabama. Right on, man. Huntsville. Texans didn't know what hit them. Yeah, they should never got by the Bills, man. They should never got by the Bills. Oh, yeah. Go Bison. Who's that? Bills? Lee B says go Bison. Weren't they the Buffalo Bisons back in the AAA baseball? All right, Jimmy G all the way. Yeah. Pack leads Seattle 14. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, Rob. I mean, hell, freaking yeah. The Texans are up 24-24 nothing. All right. Fan of Pablo, you can't find where you revisit the best retirement plan ever and eliminate the US AGX one. Okay, so I got lots coming down the pike on that. I can't wait. So now we got 2014 numbers in. In fact, let me just double check what Wellington did in 2019, excuse me. So Wellesley was up 16.39, it looks like, in 2019. Is that right? Hold on a sec. and I'm going to be doing a lot of this next couple of days here with revisiting the spreadsheets, adding 2019 numbers. I can't wait. So I can't tell. Looks like Wellesley was up 15. Anyway, I have to see. But anyway, so I'm going to be doing those for sure. Actually, hold on just a second. Let me just go to, bear with me just a second. I'm going to go to share my screen, but first we're going to hit finance.yahoo.com and I'll share my screen. I'll show it with you guys. Share screen right there. Blink. Okay. We're going to share. And we're going to get rid of this guy. Okay, right there. All right, so let's go to finance.yahoo.com. We're going to go to VWINX. That's the Wellesley Income Fund. And we're going to go to performance. Let's see what this guy did last year. Did I hit performance? Oops. All right, so let's see what the Wellesley did last year in 2019. Yeah, up 16.39. Okay, good. So that's a bond fund. In fact, let's just look at BND. I mean, BND last year was 8.71. All right, so I want to show you this here real quick. All right, so here's BND. It's a total bond index. It's a Vanguard total bond index ETF. Up 8.8, but 8.71 is what is up right there. All right, so the year before is down, roughly broken even, 3.62, 2.57, 0.39. So basically what you can do, you can literally sit there and say, what is the yield right now? And the yield on this guy is 2.72. And then you can, this is so easy to figure out what your performance is going to be. You're going to say, well, if we have 2.72 as a yield, and last year I got 8.84, it's inherently, and you got, look, 8.84, oh, right here, 8.71, broken even, 3.62, 2.57. You can quickly calculate what your performance, not necessarily next year, but certainly between now and the next rolling 10 years is going to be. It's going to be your yield. Now, if this performance is extraordinarily high, which it really is, given that yield, you would want to take this. You're going to lose probably 200 basis points off this performance right here, off yield. Excuse me. So let me explain what I'm talking about. All right. So this right here, the 30-year Treasury is probably paying about this right here, about 2.72, give or take. All right. So we know if you locked in your money today, in a 30-year Treasury bond, you get 2.72. You're not getting any more. You're not getting any less. The only way you get less is if the government goes bankrupt, which it well could. Oh, hey, buddy's got his carrot. It's all right. Thanks, babes. Hey, everyone wants to know when you want to jump on. You want to jump on? Oh, she just walked away. Ay. She's not going to be here, guys. Sorry. All right, so we know we're having 2.72. That's literally what you're going to get. You're not getting more, you're not getting less. The only way you get less is if the bond goes kaput. That's it. So then people say, but Josh, I got 8. Oops, I'm sorry. They'll say, but Josh, I got 8.71 last year. Okay, that's fine, but that's coming. You're literally, that's going to reduce your future returns on this because you inherently can't get more than 2.72. It's a mathematical impossibility. It really is. I know it's hard to fathom. People say, well, I got 8.71. It's not hard to fathom. It's as simple as 2 + 2 is 4. So what happens here is we're going to say, okay, well, if I got 8.71 and then the year before I basically broke even, which means I got less than the 2.72, but I got significantly more than the 2.72 in this year. And roughly the 30-year Treasury was running right around 3%. You know that your future return is going to give back some of this 8.71. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. There's no getting around that. So anyone who thinks they're getting 8.71 is crazy. On top of that, you're going to have to give back some of this yield at 2.72 because the price per share is so significantly higher than the par value. I hope that makes sense because it's so critical, important to understand. And I get a lot of people won't, and a lot of people want to hear it, but I'm just telling you right now, it's that simple. So let's go back into, let's look at the Wellington Fund too. I am still working on I'm still working my Wellington book, VWELX. Last year, that guy was up 22%. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 22% last year. So I mean, just look at this, the track record of this guy. I mean, right here, 2008 was down 22%, but it was down more than, I'm telling you right now, from 2007 to March of 2009, Wellington was down about 35%. Just keep that in the back of your mind. So you might be able to say, oh, I can take a 32% decline. Man, you had to take another 60% on top of that when you factor in 2007 to 2009. You cannot overlook that. But I mean, look at this. In 2001 and 2, this is where value stocks, because remember, growth stocks were sucking the air out of everything. Growth stocks were. Wellington is not a growth stock. So there's only 4.41 in 1999, where all the growth stocks were getting freaking smoking, 35, 40%, whatnot. Everyone hated Wellington Fund and anything that's value oriented. And then growth stocks fell off a cliff, and value stocks regained their composure, so to speak. So Wellington in 2001 were actually making money, where the gross S&P 500 was down 9, 12, and 22% respectively. So the reason why the Wellington numbers look so good is because it only was down 6.9% in 2002. It did not get hit 9%. It did not get hit 12%. And it did not get hit 22% respectively as the S&P 500 did. 2008 rolls around and Wellington was down, not nearly to the extent of the S&P 500. Again, that shows you that the value stocks rescued this from a pretty significant decline. But the problem, again, of course, is value stocks have underperformed growth stocks over the last 10 years. So again, we're right back in the same scenario, in my opinion, where value has underperformed growth, and thus value will come back around. I mean, look, I don't know when, where, or how, and I certainly could be wrong, but this is why I'm all value stocks, because I do. Now, like, this is my own market timing bet. It's stupid. I should not do that, but I can't help it. It's just the nature of me. I say, look, there is a fundamental underappreciation of value stocks, and because that will some point the redhead stepchild will become the shining prom queen or whatever. I don't know what it is. And when that happens, people who bought value stocks are going to look like genius. So that's a fact. And I don't know when, where, how, or even if. But for me, that's what I'm planting my flag on. So Wellington is down 3, down 22, down 6, and the last 20 years, not too shabby. Then we go, but I'm telling you right now, I cannot stress this enough. Believe it or not, it is these years right here. Look, sorry, I'm not answering questions, but I cannot stress this enough. Even right in here, these years right here were the doomsday scenario of all retirement plans. Doomsday scenarios was basically freaking stupid Richard Nixon. Oh, Richard Nixon's so great. No Republican should ever say that. That should never utter. A conservative person, a freedom-oriented person should never utter the words Richard Nixon was a good president. Absolutely not. I'd much rather have had Jimmy Carter than Richard Nixon. Carter, with Ted Kennedy, deregulated things. Nixon did not. Nixon was what do you say? We're all Keynesians now. On top of that meeting with China, and on top of that, Henry Kissinger. They all KMB. I'll let you figure out what KMB stands for. Look, I'm not a fan of Jimmy Carter, but let's not be silly here to pretend that Jimmy Carter did not start the deregulation craze of Margaret Thatcher and then Ronald Reagan in the late 70s and in the 80s, which rescued the West and relieved us from the threat of communism because they couldn't keep up. Anyways, because of people like Margaret Thatcher, Jimmy Carter, Pope John Paul, and then, of course, Ronald Wilson Reagan. But anyway, look here. I mean, so what happened here was the inflationary times of the 70s. Inflation was I'm telling you, you could have decent returns here, but the facts were the inflation was eating alive your. I'm telling you right now, inflation was the kahuna breaker, if that makes sense, and you could not escape it. You could not escape it. No stocks, no real estate, no bonds. You were freaking dead to rights, and you got hammered. We're not going to go through an inflationary time like this again, as far as I can see. I don't look. Could we? Sure. I mean, my goodness, lightning could hit me right now. But the issue is, if you look at the demographics, it's not going to happen, man. And because of that, the whole premise of the 4% rule wasn't based on these years in the Great Depression. These were bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if we can say we've learned our lesson from the Great Depression. I mean, my God, we learned our lesson until a new lesson needs to be learned. But it was literally the 70s that crushed retirement plans. And I cannot stress this enough. Essentially, it's not even, you can say from 66 to 82, which is a lot of people will say, because that's when basically the Dow Jones started like 9. I can't remember what it was. It didn't make any money net of if he took out dividends. That's fine. But it's not even 66. It was literally 72 from Nixon's second term until Reagan took over with Paul Volcker. Those from 72 to 81 were horrific years if you're going to retire. You got to watch that inflation. The inflation will eat you alive. And it did. And even if you got these 23 and 25% returns, it didn't matter because inflation was so high and so bad and so dastardly, you were getting crushed. Inflation is the freaking cojones breakers. It's not low returns. It's not this right here. It's inflation. And having low inflation, I'm telling you, it means you can stop this freaking 4% thing. I had a guy the other day saying, well, what about the 4% rule? I was like, dude, you got to stop. I mean, look, you can do whatever you want. So I'm like, you got to stop that. Because the 4% rule, man, it's just not, it's not based on anything in today's reality. It's just not. So, all right. All right, let's see what we got here. What kind of question? I forgot how I even went on that diatribe. All right, so hold on just a second. Let's see. Yeah, Ravens lost. Takes this thing away from the Pats losing. Yeah, I was. I actually was going. I would have rather seen the Bills, frankly, than the Texans, the Bills and the Texans than the Titans. But I can no call them Titans, man. All right, so we got. There's a question on here. Oh, something about, so anyway, actually, that's the whole point. See, this is what I'm talking about. For you all new here, I get off my tangent and I look at squirrel. So anyway, let's look at USAGX. This is the USA Gold and Precious Metal Fund. Let's see what that guy did last year, because it's USGAX. I was getting ready to say, why is it USAGX? I was getting ready to flip out that Morgan Stanley bought USA funds. Yeah, look at that. There we go. 42% last year. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Jeez. It's I love it. I love the fund. I look, man. I mean, look at these years. 5 years of just getting pummeled. But if you look at the 10 years previously, it just, 30, 67, 70, 39, 43. Then it just got hammered. Then it got pummeled. And I just think this is a good component of anyone's portfolio. I really, really do. Now, this is just gold mining stocks. You should own some gold. You should own some gold. Everyone says, you think the zombies are coming. No, it's not that I think the zombies are coming. Gold has a history that goes back to Jesus's time, for heaven's sake. I don't understand that people you don't have to be a gold bug to say gold should be part of your portfolio. I just sit there and think, why would you? It doesn't mean you have to have all your eggs in the gold basket, but not to own a little bit of the gold and precious metals fund. And I don't even say that so much, but I absolutely think gold. Let's go to the bullion price. You having some gold? I do. So let's go to let's go to, what's it called? JB bullion. Is that what it's called? I forgot what I use here. Yeah, JM bullion. Let's go to JM bullion. And let's see what gold I haven't looked. 1560. You kidding me? Man, I was buying some gold. I did a video last year. I was buying some gold off the U.S. Mint, which I since been told don't do that. I forgot why, but anyway, I remember I said, okay. And it wasn't 1560. I think it was like freaking 1,300 an ounce. I did a video on that. And last time I was on JM bullion, maybe 2 years ago, it was like 1,250 an ounce. So that's a pretty significant. You should buy some gold. Not only is it just beautiful, it's fun to own, but it doesn't have anything to do with the stock market or the bond market. Buy some gold, man. I'm telling you right now. But you don't get. It doesn't have a dividend. What else? You don't get paid to own it. No, that's right. That's what makes it so different. Frank Church, there he is, man. Oh yeah, the big lid from Idaho. Who would have ever thought those of us on the right would say Frank Church was a man in front of his times that we can't trust the CIA or the FBI as far as we can kick them. That does not mean the individual people in the CIA and FBI are not patriots. It means the leadership is freaking nuts. Starting with John Brennan. I know he's not the leader anymore. All those guys, man, Trump needs to clean all those guys. I'd take the freaking top 10% of the executives and say, you are gone en masse. Who would have thought Frank Church, the liberal from Idaho, in 1978, the Church Commission, where he said, you guys can't be freaking, who would have thought? But there you go. All right, let's see. White Lake, Michigan sounds nice, man. Sounds cold. All right. Hey, Josh, if you have to take an RMD, is it better to do it in the early part of the year or at the end of the year? Bruce, I always say do it the early. And the reason I say that is just so we get it done. I mean, you know for a fact the RMD is not, the RMD amount for that year is not going to change. All right. So, I mean, I guess they could change it once they, once they have, the change of the RMD tables, you know what I'm saying? But that at the end of the day, on February 10th, what your RMD is amount. It's the same RMD amount for February 10th as it would be for, December 30th. So just take it out, man. Just take, you don't have to pay tax on it. You might want to withhold taxes. That's fine. But just take it out, be done with it. No reason not to, in my opinion. There we go. So just take it out, be done with it. And that way you don't have to worry about it. I will tell you, I had a case, maybe 2 cases with that USAA, where I can't make this bigger. It's kind of cool having this up like this. This is a new thing that YouTube is doing on there. I guess I can't make that bigger. That sucks. Yeah. All right. But anyway, so at the Hershey Bears hockey, got my new shirt when I was in Hershey Bears hockey. So I had a couple examples where the RMDs were not done and the guy died before taking his RMDs. Surviving spouse did not know he had to take the RMDs. And it was just a hassle, man. So we're getting towards the end of the year. The guy died like in November or something like that. And I just remember trying to call the surviving spouse saying, look, man, your husband forgot to take the RMD. Now the last thing she wants to do, especially if a spouse dying is sudden, is to worry about this crap. But some of these guys have pretty big RMD amounts. And if she did not do it, that's a 50% penalty on the amount she neglected to take out. Now, the IRS may be sympathetic to her, IRS showing sympathy and saying, all right, we'll give you an exception. I don't think so. I don't think they'd say, okay, your husband died, we feel bad for you. No, because why would they do that to some people and not others? That's discriminatory. So you have to have it taken out by year end. And even if your spouse dies and you inherit the IRA, the guy who died was supposed to have taken the RMD out by year end. And the last thing you want to do as a freaking mourning spouse is call up some freaking brokerage firm on 30th December when they're inundated with the freaking phone calls. And half the time you're talking to somebody in India who doesn't even know what the hell an RMD is. So take it out at the beginning of the year just to get it done. So Catherine says she just retired last week. Woo-wee! Take that crappy old job. Boom, in your face. Who do we want to be in your face? In your face, Tom Brady. I can't say Tom Brady because I love the guy. In your face, Brendan Roethlisberger. There you go. All right. Good job, Catherine. Or in your face, horrible boss. I just retired last week with a 403B. So I'm presuming you're a teacher. I have $230,000. Not sure what to do with it. 401k rollover, Roth, leave it where it is. All right, so Voya is an insurance company. I would be hesitant to leave it there simply because I have a sneaky suspicion the fees are not going to be low. Isn't Voya an insurance company? Now I got to double check before I start talking smack. I don't know. So let's go to DuckDuckGo because we don't go to Google here. Why don't we go to Google? Because we don't trust their search engine results, their search engine results page, SERP, because we've done experiments time and time again where they show you what they want you to hear, not what you're looking to hear. We know that for a fact. We know for a fact Google manipulates a search engine to favor a certain world point of view. We know that for a fact. It is not debatable. So Voya, I think Voya is an insurance company, Catherine. So let's take a gander, Voya insurance. Voya, let's just go to. All right, so Voya, see, they changed your name. I want to say it's from ING. Didn't ING change your name to Voya? So I still orange. Yeah, yeah, there's ING. Okay, I knew it, man, because my orange money, that's ING. So we know that their insurance, there's an insurance company. So no, and they care. Look, Catherine, but you want to leave your money because they care. Voya, what does Voya care about? They care. They're so caring. They care while they're charging you a freaking arm and a leg in their fees. All right, well, there you go. They help the special needs community. That's great. You can also help the special needs community, Voya, by reducing your fees. How about that? Freaking, anyway, I don't care. I don't care about Voya. I don't care that they care. I care about the fees that they're charging. Let them care on their private money, not on their corporate money, so they don't freaking take you to the woodshed with their high fees. So anyway, we know Voya is going to be expensive. Why? Because their insurance company, Voya, used to be ING. Trust me, trust me, trust me. If you were in this business a few years back when ING was a big purveyor of variable annuities, their sales pitch was not the benefit to you. Their sales pitch was to the benefit of the commission salesperson. I'm telling you, man, I used to get stacks of stuff sent on my desk. The highest commission in freaking this side of the Western Hemisphere. So that was crazy. And so why does ING have to change their name? Because everyone hates the name ING. All right, no different than Wachovia was First Union. First Union actually bought Wachovia, but it took the Wachovia name. Wachovia then became I forgot that guy who ran Wachovia, First Union. They got bought out by Wells Fargo because they were run by, let's just say, people who did not have your best interest at mind. And the same thing here. ING had to rechange its name. All right. So anyway, I would roll it over to 401k. Absolutely. Now, whether or not you should do a Roth, I don't know. I don't know your tax circumstance. I don't know what you have going on, but I'd absolutely roll that sucker over to 401k for sure. My friend Marie, who likes the Steelers, so she's probably hanged up right now since I said, take that, Ben Roethlisberger. But she says, are index funds a safer or conservative type of investing? Thinking of my retirement in 5 to 9 years. Well, index funds can be quote unquote safer, Marie. In terms of short-term volatility, though, index funds and the S&P 500. If we just go back to, not Vanguard. If we just let's go back to finance.yahoo.com. And the reason I like finance.yahoo.com isn't because it's so, look, I don't do a lot of analyzing. I just like it because they show the performance year over year. Try to find this stuff on Vanguard. It's like, you can't, it's nuts. So if we go to VFINX, we can see the performance of the S&P 500 index. This is an index fund. And I'll let you determine if this is safer or not. There we go. Let's get out of the way there. Yeah, click on that guy or what, man? Well, I'm not sure what's going on here, but lots of ads. All right. Well, never mind. All right. So for some reason it's not clicking. I don't know why. But anyway, the VFINX, it was down 37%, Marie, in 2008. It was down 55% from October 10th, 2007 to March 9th of 2009. So that doesn't seem very safe, even though it's an index fund. The reason index funds no one should ever say an index fund inherently is safer because that's silly. But the reason they're looked more favorably is because they're lower fees, lower turnover, lower tax ramifications, lower fees. But they're not safer. If you're looking for safety, you can take a high fee government bond fund versus an index fund, and the high fee government bond fund would be safer. So, if you're still 5 to 9 years out of retirement, I wouldn't. This is me. I wouldn't sweat it. Could we have a big market decline? Absolutely, happens all the time. We have enough time to recover? Absolutely. And presumably you're still putting money into your 401k, your investment accounts as well. So I wouldn't sweat it. My rule of thumb is usually when you hit about 2 years out, that's when I would stop putting money into liquid investments like S&P 500 index and whatnot, and just build up your cash bucket. That's what I suggest. So if you're 2 years out, look, and this everyone can do anything they want. I don't care. But if you're 2 years out, you say, look, I want to have enough money to cover, 3 years at a minimum of cash. So all my investments going forward are going to go into the cash bucket of my 401k to include my employer match to build that bucket up. Having that money you're putting in, let's say for simplicity, $20,000. If that's not going to make or break you for 2 years. It's just not. That money, it could go up 10%. It's going to go up to $22,000. That's nice. But what to do? I'd much rather have you have a bucket of money in cash that you can fall back on for when you hit retirement. You can spend if you need to. Hope that helps. Kevin, would you recommend paying off student debt, only debt, or pay for a dentist surgery that I need done? Well, I think I'd pay for the surgery. Because how else would you do it? You take a loan for it, and that loan presumably would be a whole lot more expensive than the student loans. Oh, the Bison, North Dakota State League beat JMU again, huh? Wow. And who's the most popular, most famous guy from North Dakota State? Anybody know? Anybody? He was a running back, short guy. Anybody? All right. So I would use that money to pay for the dental surgery and not pay off the student loan in that regard. That's what I would do. But again, I don't know the interest rates. I just know on my daughter's rate, it's not as cheap as you think. It's like 5.5% for Georgia Tech loans. Any thoughts on investing in royalty trust? Don't know anything about it, man. Not familiar at all with royalty trust. Is that Megan, what's her name? And what's that guy's name? Andrew or something like that? Is that their new investment they're pushing? They want to move to the U.S., but the U.S., they don't want to move here until Trump is out of office because Trump's a racist. I don't know anything about a royalty trust. Sorry, brother. Bob, cash in the bank would be the gold standard if we had honest interest rates. Stock market will crash if the Federal Reserve raises interest rates to 4%. So back to back, Bob said cash in the bank would be the gold standard if we had honest interest rates. And next to him, my man or lady, cute humor, says stock market would crash if the Fed raised interest rates to 4%. I don't know why, but okay. People would sell stocks and move to CDs. I sound a little hoarse tonight. Yeah, interesting. I am drinking my Walmart hot tea. I'm sure made by Chinese slave laborers. Freaking, hey, but there you go. I don't know. Maybe I am a little bit hoarse. Hey, y'all, Dougie B in the house is. All right. But an honest ending system would fund growth, unlike the casino Wall Street we have today. Let's fold laundry and listen to Josh. You're not watching the pack. Gonna get smacked by Seattle. All right. Chris or Megan says, my man Jeff. I'm surprised, Jeff, you don't have a thing to fold your laundry for you, man. I mean, shoot, you got a thing to mow your lawn. Oh yeah. All right, so I missed something here. All right, Chris or Megan? Oops, no, missed it. Yeah. All right, hold on a sec. Yeah. Are you now leaning back towards Wellington and away from? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Chris. So when I did those videos, so basically I have a whole bunch of videos on that, Chris, from literally a year ago today, or this week, essentially. And my thought process was what's the word I'm looking for? A learning experience to figure out the funds. And I liked the American Fund's New Perspective, the Pennsylvania Mutual Fund, the Royce Pennsylvania Mutual Fund. I forgot what VGSIX is. Is that the inflation protected? And then the U.S. Precious Metals Fund. I like that. The problem is that when it comes to four funds like that, is anyone really going to diversify and rebalance those? I mean, I will. I know we got lots of engineers on this channel, which I love because they like spreadsheets and we all like spreadsheets. And how can you not like spreadsheets? But I don't think many people are going to actually diversify. I just don't the way it needs to be on a regular basis. So when you have 5 years of USAGX getting hammered, is anyone truly going to rebalance into those accounts? I just don't know. I wouldn't, frankly, because I just don't pay any attention. But the difference is, of course, is I'm still working. I still have labor and income. When you're retired, that might be a little bit of an apple, a rotten apple. Might be too hard to do that, I would think. So the nice thing about Wellington is it's simple, man. It's one fund. Its fees are low. Wellington Asset Management Company is fantastic. Been around since 1932. It's value stock, so you have more dividends to pay out. You got some bonds in there, good corporate and government bonds. I can't say this enough. Value stocks are more aggressive. They're riskier in the short term. Man, I must have 5 questions on this last week. Buy less risky stocks. And I say to that person, what is a less risky stock? Tell me what that is. Now, no one answered that. Get it? I mean, they might have answered the comments. I don't know, but there is no such thing as a less risky stock. And if someone says a less risky stock is one that has a moat around it, I mean, who decides what the moat is? Was General Electric a less risky stock, in 2016? There's Bethlehem Steel. There is no such thing as a less risky stock. And if they say, well, it's a stock that pays more as a dividend yield, the reason the dividend yield is higher is because the price is lower relative to its earnings. And if the lower the price, the more risky it is, because there's a reason it's lower price, i.e. it could more likely to go bankrupt potentially. That's why it's a value stock, because people say there's something wrong with it, that people are like, I don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. No different than Apple in 1997. Apple went crawling to old Bill Gates there, my man Steve Jobs, and said, Bill, give us some money. And he bought it like $7 a share or something like that. No one back then said Apple was going to be. Certainly, no one said Amazon. Hell, I still don't get Amazon. I don't get how people are buying it with a PE ratio. I think it's 3 figures. I don't get it. Someone said I was hoarse. Maybe on the side I started smoking a carton of Cools, because I just coughed. I don't like cigarettes. Even though I do like the smell. I can smell a cigarette from a mile away, man. If you're smoking a cigarette and you're driving next to me, even on the highway, I can smell. Oh yeah, but anyway. So anyway, I'm like Wellington. It's just a simple fund. It's not that diversified in terms. You don't have international. You don't have large cap growth. You don't have any small caps in there. But for one fund, it's tough to beat, man. If I had one fund, I vacillate, because I always like the American funds, the Income Fund of America too. But if I had one fund, it would be Wellington for sure. But there's no reason you have to have just Wellington. I mean, throw some USAGX in there to diversify. I can no problem that. I just like Wellington. It's a great fund. I don't own it, frankly. I own literally my 3 funds. As I said a million times on Sunday, I keep forgetting what I do. Here it is. Sweet. I'll share with you my 3 stock picks, if you will. These are amazing. This is amazing. And I'll share with you my new strategy, which I've been thinking about a lot today and yesterday when it comes to paying off your mortgage. So I have 3 funds. I have VDIGX, VTV, and VBK. And if you buy these because you think, or if you think this is a recommendation for you to buy them as if your money is going to go and make me more money, think again. You and I and everyone here combined do not hold a candle to what other people have in these funds. I mean, billions of dollars are in this, guys. So this one right here and this one right here are in my IRA. Now, I was going to have these in a Roth IRA in 2019. My intention was fully to convert these suckers into Roth, but I made more money than I ever anticipated, so it doesn't make sense. I did have a question I'm going to respond to tomorrow looking at TurboTax. I'm going to start bringing back the TurboTax 2020, because I started messing around with me as a self-employed person this year. And I'm going to bring back some TurboTax videos tomorrow and the next day, because it's interesting to me. So a guy asked me, he goes, look, he has 5 crumb crunchers. He says, should I start doing Roth conversions while I have 5 crumb crunchers, or wait till I no longer work, even though those 5 crumb crunchers will be out of the house? I don't know the answer to that. It was a good question. So I'm going to do some TurboTax, because that's a good question for me to think about as well. It's like, look, I got 4 crumb crunchers. I can't write off Pablo, unfortunately, but I do have 4. The question is, does it make sense to write those, to do Roth conversions while I got those or not? For me, because I made more money than I ever anticipated in 2019, it won't be. I can tell you that a mile away. So I will not do Roth conversions. So these should be in a Roth, because they're both dividend heavy, all stocks. That's value. That's a Vanguard value index, large cap value index. This is my biggest holding, the Vanguard large cap value. I'm putting, I think I have 15% of my portfolio in VDIGX, which is the Vanguard dividend growth or appreciation. I can't remember, the dividend appreciation fund. And this, I'm putting $1,000 a month into this guy right here, VBK, outside of an IRA. This is the Vanguard small cap growth ETF, if memory serves, when I'm using that at M1. And if you're interested in M1 finance, which I love a lot, man, if you open an account through my link, I get paid. Actually, do you get paid too? I can't remember, but I get paid. So you see a link on the website or on the YouTube channel. You open an account with M1 Finance, and you know I'm getting paid, and that's what should matter, right? I mean, let's be honest, that's what should matter. But anyway, so this account, because it's an ETF and because it has not very much dividends, will not generate a 1099 for me, or a very small 1099, which means I won't have a taxable event each and every year. And that's what you want. You don't want for the new guys here, you want your dividend stocks in your Roth. You want your bonds in your IRA, and you want your low dividends, high growth, low turnover stocks. And when I say stocks, I'm talking ETFs. I do not own any individual stocks. People, I don't care. They're literally, owning an individual stock is a crapshoot. Is literally just guess, is luck, and there's no other way around it. It's luck, it's guess. There's no fundamentals. I mean, yes, you can say fundamentally this stock should do better than that stock because price earnings ratio, price to book ratio, all that. Ben Graham said that. Look, man, if you think you're the only guy who followed Ben Graham or Warren Buffett or Irving Fisher, you're wrong, man. And all these people say, I'm following the Ben Graham model. Yeah, you and every other freaking person out there are doing the same damn thing. Yeah. So look, there's buying individual stocks luck is all there is to it. So I say, look, I'll reduce my luck, i.e. reduce my risk of also having bad luck by diversifying among ETFs. And I want no taxes in my taxable account. I want that to grow as tax-free as possible, which means no dividends, hell no bonds, and low turnover. And if it's a Vanguard ETF, the turnover, how much it trades its own portfolio in any given year, it won't matter because Vanguard has some kind of patent. It's freaking insane, by the way, the Vanguard patent. And Eaton Vance of all firms has another patent where they don't have to pay capital gain tax. Nuts. Anyway, so you want a Vanguard ETF. Yes, you want a Vanguard ETF, explicitly a Vanguard ETF in a taxable account. Hey, big man. And you don't want any bonds, and you don't want to have to pay much of dividends because dividends do yield you a 1099. And there we go. If Pablo finds out you're not doing that, someone said Pablo is like the pirate, the parrot, the pirate shoulder. That was funny. Oops, hold on a second. Anyway, so that's what you want. So that's what I have. I have no bonds at all. I try to keep some cash, but I have no bonds at all. And you shouldn't have any bonds either. I don't know your circumstance, but when I say you, the general viewing audience. Let's see here. Middle Tennessee, right on. Having worked at Vanguard, what are your thoughts? I love Prime Cap and Capital Opportunity. Love them. Love them, love them, love them for long-term investments. Love them. Run by the same group. Prime Cap runs Capital Opportunity. In fact, they used to have Prime Cap closed. I think it still is. I forgot what I was going to go look at, but they gave me such a hard time looking at what the return was on VFINX. I don't want to waste everybody's time. Huge fans of Prime Cap. Love that firm. Huge fans of Capital Opportunity because it's Prime Cap's stepsister, essentially. And look, I'm not saying you can't go wrong with Prime Cap, but I'm sure it's still closed. And I think Capital Opportunity might be closed now too, except through 401k plans. The Fidelity Contra Fund would be the Fidelity version of Prime Cap, the way I see it. I mean, they're not, look, man, they're two different complete management styles, but both are just, a stellar, actively managed accounts. No other way around that. Big fan. All right. So the pack's still up 14-3. Oh, I got to take a look. I hate the Seahawks, man. Have I said that yet? Everyone's like, the Patriots cheat. The Seahawks put fake sound into their thing, man, in their stadium. The Seahawks, they make it, we're the loudest stadium in the world. Yeah, well, if you freaking have jet engines in there that you're piping into there, I mean, those fans in Seattle don't like football. They want to drink coffee and freaking smash people that like Trump. They don't care about football. I guarantee when they hear a field goal, what is it? What is a score? When they hear, I don't know what soccer. What is soccer? Anyway, when they think football, they think soccer. Those people in Seattle. Come on. Come on. I hate the Seahawks. Please. Right, hold on just a second. Ooh, yes, 21-3. Yes. Look, man, I try not to get that involved. I like football. Always have, always will. Football was my escape when I was a kid growing up. I loved it ever since, and I still love it. I tried to get away from it. The kneeling stuff pissed me off. I got away from it for the kneeling stuff. That really pissed me off. This whole thing with Colin Kaepernick and him saying when we took out that crazy general in Iran that only America kills brown and black people. Like, well, why weren't you saying anything about that general there, Colin? It killing all those brown and black people in Iran, you freaking scumbag. That stuff pissed me off. When Trump got elected, the NFL, they knew they needed to rein that crap in because they're losing their audience. Look what's going on in the NBA. How many times you have to hear Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich, get and what's that other guy's name? That's another big lib. I can't remember, freaking, yell and scream bloody murder about how Trump is evil and Trump is racist. So that means I voted for a racist? Kiss my butt. Anyway, so I love football. I'm a big fan of the NFL. Now that they don't kneel, I don't watch it that often, Frank. I'd probably catch the playoffs is all I really watch. And then when the Patriots lost, which was painful, but we had a good 20 years. And touchdown Tom is not done yet, by the way. But at the end of the day, when the Patriots are out, it takes some of the pressure off. Now I can watch in peace, believe it or not. So I'm excited. And I don't watch any hockey until the playoffs come around. I don't watch any NBA. NBA is the most, literally. I think I'd rather go see Cher with Madonna play a concert on New Year's Eve in New York City. I think I'd rather go see that than watch any NBA basketball. It is painful to watch for me. And I will say I have ignorance. I haven't watched a game in a long time. I've never gone to see the Hawks play down here in Atlanta. Even though I do like that guy they traded the white guy from Atlanta. They traded from Lithuania or something like that. They traded for the black guy from Dallas. Trey, I forgot his name, and I like him. He's put up good numbers, and he actually paid off like $2 million worth of medical bills for people around here in Atlanta. So cool on him. I don't know what that white guy's name is, Doncic or something like that, but I do follow the stats. I don't watch any basketball. In college basketball, oh, God almighty. Boy, did I tell you, I am an SEC fan now. Yes, I am. So as all you SEC haters who hate on me for hating on the SEC, I'm a big fan of Mississippi State. I'm going to get some Mississippi State gear to support the Bulldogs with my man Mike Leach. Only thing that sucked, by the way, about the Ravens losing is that, Harbaugh would go for it on fourth, and I wish more NFL teams would do that, but they don't have the kahunas to do it because they're like, if we don't make it, we lose, which is exactly what happened in Baltimore last night. They went twice, and they couldn't close the deal, and I'm sure that's going to turn a lot of other coaches off from going for it on fourth, which sucks. All right. All right, so Missy. Growth stocks for value, you mentioned. I think to use small caps growth for taxable. Yeah, right on. That's it, Missy. Exactly right. Again, we want to stay away from anything value. Value implies dividends. We don't want dividends in a taxable account because it creating your taxes. You don't want that crap. Like mining stocks or gold. Well, I don't have any mining stocks. I mean, I do in the S&P 500. I mean, I have presumably, with I was just talking about the other day. Phelps Dodge was a gold and copper mining company in Arizona. They were bought out by a big firm a while ago. I forgot what it's called. And I'm sure they're the S&P 500. I'm drawing a blank what that's called. The firm that bought them out. And I'm sure they're in the S&P 500. So that's a mining stock. So if you own the S&P 500, you own gold and mining stocks without question. The gold bullion, the actual coin, you should own. Absolutely. I've shared stories a bunch of times on this very channel about people who've used gold to escape tyrannical communist takeovers in Africa. I won't go down that today, but I've literally had a son tell me about their heroic escape from, I don't know, Liberia or something like that. It might have been Liberia. Yeah, because there was big revolutions in Liberia in the 70s, and they were able to make it to South America and then ultimately to Miami just because their dad, who's a business owner, had gold. He was able to hoard some gold. And anyway. All right, so Paul, if you own gold, you need to hold it in a tax-deferred or a tax-free account. Is taxed as a collectible and sold. Lee says, should I keep it a year emergency money in gold? where I want to know, are you talking emergency money, like a real emergency, like the commies have taken over? Or are you talking emergency money like the transmission went out? Emergency money like the commies are taking over? Absolutely. Emergency money like the transmission is going out? No. Paul says, going back to what Paul said, he says, if you sell it, it's taxed as collectible and sold. The premise would never be to sell it. Literally, the premise is literally to hold gold for as long as you possibly can until the commies come. And if they come, then who gives two craps about being audited from the IRS, because we're looking to save our lives, if that makes sense. Oh, that sounds so dystopian. Look, man, I mean, history is rife of human beings abusing other human beings all over the place. The idea that it can't happen here is just silliness to me. It doesn't mean it's going to happen here, but isn't it nice to have 5 to 10% of your overall net worth in some kind of thing that you can take with you? I mean, a gold ounce is a very small, it's an ounce, for heaven's sake. It's not very heavy, and yet it's worth $1,500. What I would do, frankly, is, having a bunch of ounces of gold, that's too much. You can't slit. This isn't Julius Caesar where you're slicing and dicing them. What you have to do is own, quarters. Buy quarters. So it can be a little bit more expensive than the ounce, but at least a quarter is definitely easier to barter than a full ounce. I mean, what are you going to do? Get an ounce for a bucket of apples? That's a pretty expensive bucket of apples. But if you have a quarter of an ounce, that's a whole lot easier to barter, in my opinion. That's if people still accept gold. But if I look in hindsight, when Jesus was born, the 3 wise men, gold was one of the 3 things they gave him. So incest, myrrh, and gold, right? So if it goes back to, if it's good enough to give to the good Lord, the salvation of all of world's people, even people who don't love him, he still died for those people. If it's good enough for him, certainly good enough for me. Kitco is a good metals pricing resource. Never heard of it, but hey, right on, there you go. Kitco is, so I'm not familiar with Kitco, but there you go. So this guy, my man Dougie B, is saying Kitco is hearing that if gold clears $1,600, it could go on a run, but no one really knows. Well, hell, it's already gone on a run from 12 to 1,500, right? Sympathy from the IRS is, yeah, don't hold your breath, brother. There is a rule of discovery on 401 RMDs at the Mexico, New York's in the house. We have a Mexico, Maine. It was ING, right on, man. Talk about Voya. It breaks my heart how many people don't know their own dough. Yeah, me too, man. Jody T. Yeah, I always post them on YouTube, Jody. Absolutely. So I appreciate it. If you all could hit the thumbs up, that helps YouTube tell other people about the video. So again, remember, we're all here so I can get paid, right? Someone asked me the other day on I forgot what it was. I don't think it was in the live. Maybe it was a live stream. I can't remember. But he said, did I make $220,000 on YouTube last year like this guy Nate O'Brien? The answer is unequivocally no. No. I made about $3,000 a month, and maybe a little bit less than that, maybe $2,500 a month, I think, which not quite my mortgage, but pretty doggone close. So YouTube does, $2,500 a month, man, for doing this. I love doing this anyway. Freaking, it's freaking awesome. And then, I made a good amount of money, not, in the very low 10 figures on my course. And I made probably $600 a month on my books. I get some ads from my blog, not much. I probably make $100 a month on ads for my blog, and probably $40 a month from Amazon affiliates. I don't promote Amazon all that much. I mostly just books, and books are a cheap item. But I still get 2 to 4% on anything you all buy. So if you're going to buy something on Amazon, hell, man, go through my link. You can find that in the YouTube thing and click on it. That way there's a cookie. So if you click on the thing in Amazon in my link, and then you buy something after clicking on the link, it doesn't have to be what I suggest. I mean, you could buy, a 6-month supply of Mountain House emergency food, even if I didn't recommend it to you. If you got to that through my link, theoretically, I get paid on Amazon. I don't know that to be true, but I mean, that's a theory. And I see not who buys what, but you can see some stuff people buy. And I know for a fact they didn't click on that through my link, so it's pretty cool. I'm a fan of that. What else I get paid on? So we got books. I stopped doing my podcast. I just like the YouTube. I like it. So I think if you're going to do something like this, guys, you got to find the thing you enjoy doing. Every now and again, I'll get a bee in my bonnet and do a lot of blog posts, kind of bum, 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 bum. And then I haven't done a blog post in a week. I'll probably do one. Maybe not tomorrow morning, but sometimes when I'm knee deep in a good book, because I do my best reading in the morning, not fiction. That's when I do my best nonfiction, kind of just thought process in books. That's when I won't do blog posts. So right now I'm reading about not the crucifixion of Jesus, but actually crucifixion and what it was in the old days and how horrendous it was and how like the Gnostics basically say, Jesus wasn't crucified because crucifixion was for, criminals. And, that was just, no God would ever be crucified. And that's what the Gnostics thoughts were. And it's interesting because that's a way to basically say, we believe Jesus was, risen God, but we don't believe he's crucified because no risen God would ever allow himself to be crucified because it's such a stain on you as a human being. And, it's just funny actually reading about it because the down and dirty of what crucifixion was back then. It's interesting as all can be. A very short book, about 150 pages. A guy named Martin Hengel, Hengel, had written it back in the 70s, and it's interesting as all can be to read it because you're looking at the people who not the liberation theory, not the modern Jesus, but there's another term, I'm drawing a blank, but it's another kind of sect of Christianity, historical Jesus, that's what it is, it's almost like they don't want to see the real Jesus. I don't know why, but it's odd to me, and I'm reading that. So if you're subscribed to my email thing, and I have 1,800 people now, which is pretty cool. It kind of ebbs and flows. So you'll get a lot of emails when I'm in between books. And then when I'm back on another book, I won't email very often because I email in the morning. I forgot why I even went down that rant. There you go. All right, so heading home from work, I'll jump back in about. And then on YouTube, yes, I get paid on the ads on YouTube. That's where I was talking about the $2,500 a month I made. I'm not making $220,000. I frankly, I'd love to make $220,000. But my stuff isn't that polished, man. I don't know. I mean, be perfectly honest with you, if it's not that polished, it's just being a dog, halftime with a 3-day-old beard, and who's going to want to advertise on this show? I mean, some people will. I guess Bernie did, which is pretty cool. I'm happy to take Bernie, Tom Steyer's, and Michael Bloomberg's money so I can talk smack on them. But if they want to pay to get in front of you all, I got libs on this. That's cool. Hell, if Jeb Bush wants to advertise so I can talk smack on him, that's fine too. I'm not a Jeb Bush fan at all, but either way. All right. Your dog loves you. He is trying to find the magic squirrel for you. Try rabbit next. It works for my dog. She caught a rabbit, loves him to this day, man. ARs are fun. Yes, they are. Good evening. Hey, Josh, just paid my property taxes here in Myrtle Beach. The average effective property tax in listen to this, man. The average effective property tax on a $270,000 home, $207,000 home was $764. South Carolina. But that's why they have bad schools. Yeah, I always find that funny. They're bad schools because they have low taxes. Washington, D.C. has more per pupil by far than any other entity in the U.S., and yet their schools are significantly worse. Anyway, I find that interesting. Horry County, South Carolina, 0.37. Man, that's fantastic. You got it, Catherine. Keep going, doing the good thing in retirement. Tell us what you're going to do, man. Canyon Overlook. Now, that sounds freaking awesome. Too bad the biggest companies are getting rid of pensions. We wouldn't have to worry about this. Really? Okay, because did the vast majority of people ever have pensions? This is simply not true. It's all fake. Fake news, man. I think the max of private pensions were like 38% in like 1972 or something like that. That's it. And back then, there's a hell of a lot less government workers than there are today. And the idea you don't have to worry about pensions, you heard of things like Bethlehem Steel, airline pilots. The idea that the pensions are the cat's meow is, I mean, where you been, brother? Come on. It's not simply, it's, curious how this compares to other parts of the country. Well, I'll tell you right here in good old Fulton County. So Fulton County basically is two parts. We got South Fulton County, which is bad, poor, and impoverished. That's where all the crime happens. What I mean, violent crime and whatnot. And they got North Fulton County. And so our taxes here on this house, I pay about $6,800. I did get the homestead exemption, which knocked off about 10%. So knocked off about $7,700 of my taxes. But we're paying $6,800 on a 3,000 square foot home on an acre. Freaking awesome home. But you know, if I, like I said a million times a Sunday, if in hindsight I would have bought 1.5 mile that way to Cherokee County. If I would have got Cherokee County, the taxes are half what they are here. It's crazy. Now, when we lived in New Jersey, we had a $400,000 home, 2,400 square feet, Cape Cod on 10,000 square foot, which is a fourth an acre roughly. And we were paying $12,000 a year in taxes on that, $13,000 a year. All right, so Curtis, did I used to work with you? I see you on here a lot. I always forget to ask because I worked with a guy named Curtis back at USAA. He owns a significant amount of BND, the Vanguard Bond Index Fund. I know you don't like bonds, but it's better than BND. I'm retiring 3/30/20. All right, so he's retiring in 2.5 months. I would hang tight for the time being, man. I mean, hell, no reason to put that money at risk while you're figuring things out in retirement. I mean, I'd much rather have you miss, a 20% upside than, go into a buzzsaw. I mean, I wouldn't mess with that for the time being. This guy says, add another zero, and that's what it was in Connecticut. So he's basically saying SAS is saying in Connecticut it's $7,640, not $764. Indexes also give diversity over individual stocks. Yep. Anyone who wants a pension can join the military or work for the Fed. Yep. Counties and cities also have pensions. Yep. All right. So where did I miss? All right. Whoa, we only got 16 thumbs up. Come on, people. Help me. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, Tom Major lives in Maryland. Right on, man. Maryland. In fact, Tom, I think you lived near somebody that I did a plan for. Obviously, I can't name names, but your town was very familiar to me. And having lived in Silver Spring, gone to high school in Silver Spring, I'm somewhat familiar with Maryland. But I did a plan for someone in your neck of the woods last year. Very nice people. So Rosalind says the rule of 72 applicable in today's economy? Yeah, absolutely, because the rule of 72 is just numbers. Rosalind, it's basically if you were to get 10% a year, your account would double in 7.2 years, or conversely, if you were to get 7.2% a year, your money would double in 10 years. It's just a mathematical concept. It has nothing to do with today's economy or not. Yeah, right on. My man Sass says the rule of 72 is always in effect. Yep. Do you think it's a risky portfolio? VGT, MGK, I don't know what VGM. I don't know VBK, and that's all I know. Vanguard WILX. Is that the Wellesley Income Fund for Admiral shares? I don't know the other ones, so I don't know. Sorry, man. Still waiting on the robot laundry folder, says my man Jeff. Jeff's a Steelers fan too, but we won't hold it against him. The only time I root for the Steelers is because my youngest, Liam, plays for a basketball team called the Milton Steelers. All right. So one of the old Steelers fullbacks was a coach of the Milton Steelers football team down here. And so he also is a part-time or assistant coach of the Milton Steelers basketball team. So if you ever hear me rooting for the Steelers, I have not sold my soul to the devil. I'm just rooting for basketball. All right. Would you, at 58 years old, would have paid a switch from American to Wellington? I don't think. I like American funds. I'm a huge fan of American funds. If you're already there, I wouldn't move. Now, Wellington's cheaper, but American funds, you probably already paid your commission. You're probably getting 40, 50 basis points on the expense ratio. I got no qualm with American funds at all. None at all, especially if you already paid the commission. Ooh, go back to full screen. Let me click on this. Let's see what happens. All right. Yeah, we can do that. I got to go to stop share. There we go. There we go. Cool. I forgot to pause. Oh, man. All right. So back to full screen here. Yes, yes, yes. Matt says, Matt Burns, Mr. Burns's youngest son, excellent, says, I'm 3 years out and want to be safe in the market. Suggestions. Bob was worth millions. Matt is way, I don't know. I mean, so many things to consider in that regard, man. At the end of the day, to protect again, like I told Curtis, there's nothing wrong with sitting in, a bunch of cash or short-term bonds while you're waiting to see how retirement shakes out. I got no qualm with that. But excuse me, if you would have done that in 2017, you would have missed 2018 and 2019, and you would have left, 50,000 on the table for every 100,000 you got. So it really depends on your expenses. All right, so Grover says, you have children in college, you would want to be careful about Roth conversion. The college credits are income limited. College credits. I don't get the credits. I don't get it. It could also affect financial aid. I'm not sure why would college credits have anything to do with income? Unless you're saying, in terms of like Pell Grants or something. Yeah, but we're not getting Pell Grants. Only aid we're getting is financial aid, is loans. That's it. And she gets, my oldest gets a Zell Miller. Which is tuition is paid for. All she has to do is pay for room and board. But because Georgia Tech is in Atlanta, it ain't cheap, man. That's for sure. But no, I gotcha. You got to be careful if you are expecting to get Pell Grants or some kind of income-based loans or income-based grants. You don't want to throw Roth conversions on there, which show you more income. That's for sure. But I don't get the college credit thing, Grover. I'm not sure what you mean there. Can't relate to sports ball. He likes Supercross. Can I talk about Fidelity investments, ETFs, mutual funds? Yeah, I like Fidelity. Okay, my moderator Tom and I, he has Fidelity. I like Vanguard, but they're both fine. I got no qualm with either of them. I really don't. Fidelity's, look, they have Peter Lynch, they have Bill Danoff who runs the Contra Fund. They have a lot of good portfolio managers. At the end of the day, Fidelity is owned by the Johnson family. Vanguard is owned by shareholders. And I find that to be more attractive. I just don't trust the big conglomerates in the financial services business, the big wealthy people. I don't trust the Tom Steyers of the world. I don't care the right wing. I don't trust any of these guys. And that's just my inclination. John Bogle died with, I think, a net worth of 75 million. The Johnson family has 50 billion net worth. Where do they get that 50 billion? It's from the fees they charge, and it ticks me off. It really does. Now I cut my career at Vanguard. I got a couple Bogle books up there, one of which he signed when I met him in person at Vanguard in Phoenix. But so I'm biased in that regard. Just my preference is Vanguard. Now I did a couple of videos the other day that said break up Vanguard. It wasn't because Vanguard's evil. It's because I don't like too much corporate voting action being held in three companies. In this case, it'd be Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street Global. I don't like that at all because I know who these people run with. They run with people from the Harvard Business Review, from Yale, from the Donald Sussmans of the world, all these rich people who grew up with a freaking silver spoon in the mouth, and they all run together, and they all are guilty about living in the West. And they want to alleviate their guilt by pushing insane green things. And I know it's happening internally at Vanguard. I know that for a fact. And the more it happens, the more the left wing takes over these corporations, which is what they do. They're not stupid. The left knows what they play the long game. Those of us for the freedom, for some reason, we play the short game. We think people will leave us alone if we just leave them alone. And it never is like that. They will always attack. They're always on the offense. And I don't get why my side doesn't realize this. The only person who does is a Trumpster. He's finally playing their game, which is why I never would have voted for any of those other candidates, maybe Ted Cruz, but I don't know if I would have voted for him. I would have voted for nobody else other than Trumpster because he's the only one who freaking fights back. Everyone else is there like, oh, like freaking Chick-fil-A. What? Oh, I was reading or I heard some guy, Tim Pool, was doing a podcast or a thing on YouTube where he said Chick-fil-A, the CEO, has regrets basically bowing before of the leftists as they're basically cutting them off at the guillotine because they don't care. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I see, and I know Vanguard is going this way too. They were there when I was at Vanguard. You could see the left turn, you could see it. And I just said, oh, and long story short, it's all going to be run by these corporate execs who've got all the money in the world, and money's power. No other way around that. And because of that, I don't trust Fidelity. I trust Vanguard a little bit more because they are owned by us theoretically, but I do trust them more than I trust Fidelity. Schwab, I worked at Schwab. I like Schwab as a company. I like Charles Schwab as a man. I don't like, passing it from generation. I look, man, Schwab. What's his daughter's name? Abby, I think. No, it's Abby Johnson. Schwab's daughter's name is I'm drawing a blank, but she's big out there too. And it's the same story over and over. And generally, when the second generation comes, they change it to make themselves feel good about themselves. They don't change it in a capitalistic mindset. They change it in a more of a dogmatic approach to green energy, and we're capitalists, but we're compassionate capitalists, and I freaking hate that crap. And so ultimately, by the third generation, it's ruined. And at least Vanguard did not change from Bogle to Bogle Jr. I think Bogle Jr. has some role there, if I'm not mistaken, or he's running a hedge fund of some sort, and he's certainly building off his dad's name. I get that. That's different though. And I don't think he's doing it through Vanguard. But anyway, Fidelity's turned over to Abby Johnson. Schwab's turned over to whatever her name is. And now the nice thing about Schwab, though, because it's a corporate entity, publicly traded, she will not be CEO. I mean, she's not going to be CEO, which I think Abby Johnson, she might be now. I don't know. But anyway, long diatribe there. But that's my scream and scream and scream. Okay. I just changed it to a full screen. Sorry. That's my take. That's why I like Vanguard. People say, well, what if we can't go to Vanguard? Who do we go to? Look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just the ETF, man. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could go to USA ETFs. All right. Let's see. College and okay. Was it earned wisdom? New York College. At a New York college to John, and have my safe money in old MetLife Bright House account and get 3.5% fixed. Now we have TIA, New York deferred comp. Should I move to Vanguard? Man, John, I just don't know enough about your situation, man. I don't know. Sorry. So John's getting 3.5 fixed. I imagine that's guaranteed. If that's guaranteed, that's tough to overlook, man. That's tough to overlook. Yeah, having 3.5% fixed can be good, says Vinyl One Earthlink. Exactly. Yeah, no, Q Humor says, I used to be a big sports junkie. Me too, man. And I realized I was watching too much TV. It's funny. I could not agree more. And I sit there and it's funny. People make fun of the people, the millennials who just do nothing but play video games or stream, shows. I'm like, well, what were my age? I don't know what, I'm 49, whatever my generation. We sit there on weekends watching 8 hours of football a day. So how can we make fun of millennials for playing electronics and watching Enemy or whatever it's called, but for us to watch football 8 hours a day is okay? That's not okay. That's weird, man. That's weird. That's not good. And so anyway, I stopped. It's amazing how much you can accomplish when you stop working, watching football. Or watching sports generally. It's amazing how much work you can do. Where I found myself, I was getting addicted to Facebook. That little button there says and then I'd get stupid, like as if, look, man, you post on my YouTube channel about how much you hate Trump and how much I am a hypocrite. Look, no one's going to change opinions on YouTube. No one's going to change opinions on Facebook. So just stop. I mean, I'm not saying don't post your opinions, fine, but don't do it on a regular way as if you're going to change people's minds. You're not. No one cares. And I found I was getting more and more involved in Facebook. Finally, I said, I'm an addicted person, man. I said, I'm not having control of this. I'm gonna shut it off, which I did. And I freed up a lot of time to do other stuff. People always say, man, you post all kinds of videos. That's all I do, man. I take the guy for a walk and do videos. As I enjoy it. It gives me a dopamine rush, man. This is my addiction, and this is a good addiction because I actually make money doing it. And I think I help people. I like dividends of regular account tax, only 15%. Newmont. Okay. No, it wasn't Newmont Mining Company. It was I was talking to a guy who worked there too, just the other day. I'm getting old in my old age, everybody. I was on YouTube all day. A guy was streaming the NFL playoff audio. Of course, the live chat was on. Too many fans. James says, I was thinking about doing Roth conversion sufficient to fill out the 24% tax bracket in 2019, my last year working, and then I decided to wait till I figure out there could be other opportunity. That makes sense, man. Wait until you see what you in 2020 income is once you retire. Absolutely. My wife, there you go. The problem is when you have a pension and deferred comp. I mean, so it looks like you're not going to be able to escape high taxes at some point, no matter what. That might not be worth it to do a Roth, to be honest with you, James. I mean, that's, especially if there's no survivor benefit on the pension, it might not be worth doing a Roth. That's a tough one. When you have a pension, in this case, adding to the pension deferred comp, sometimes a Roth to pull that money forward and pay tax on it on top of the pension, on top of the deferred comp, sometimes it doesn't make sense. So that happens more than I anticipated with some of the folks I'm working with. A lot of military retirees, decent pensions. And when we're pulling that money forward to do, to model Roth conversions, it's a no-go. Emergency like red paratroopers dropping into the North American heartland. Red Dawn. It was funny, man. I don't want to get into it. When Red Dawn came out, I never watched that movie because I was not a fan of the U.S. So let's put it that way. Far lefty was I. Grown up by far left parents, far lefty. I used to have an American flag hanging upside down in my room, and just ignorant, man. That doesn't mean leftists are ignorant. It means this leftist was ignorant back then. Many a Christian have left the faith because they were born and raised as Christian without really thinking about it. Then they start thinking about it. They start seeing the questions that no one ever posed to them. They start saying, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And they never heard an apologist. They just heard it's in the Bible. Look, man, if you're questioning Christianity, in the Bible is not the answer someone wants to hear, for heaven's sakes. It drives me crazy. I'm sitting there thinking, you don't say it's in the Bible if they're doubting the Bible. It's a way to say the 97% consensus. Well, I doubt that 97% is true. And I know it's not, but let's just use that. What they say it is. All right, show me. Here's an article that says that 97%. Well, I doubt them to begin with. I don't trust Michael Mann as far as I could kick him. I don't trust Phil Jones as far as I could kick him. I don't trust the East Anglia Climate Research Unit as far as I could kick him. I don't trust NOAA, NASA. I don't trust them all because we've seen exactly their manipulating the data when it comes to weather. We know this for a fact. We know it for a fact. We know they had high the decline in their email gate. This is not debatable. So if someone says, well, Phil Jones, he's a climate scientist. I don't trust that guy as far as I could kick him. That doesn't tell me anything. If anything, it makes me say, yeah, that's exactly why I don't trust you guys. Same thing with Christianity. It's in the Bible. I'm doubting the Bible. I'm doubting it. Don't tell me it's in the Bible as if that's going to prove it to me. No, if you're a Christian, you got to understand the works of the Bible, man. I was reading my man, John Waters, the Irish guy's just writing a lot about the last couple of days and talking a lot about. And he's talking to this Puerto Rican Monsignor. He's the Puerto Rican Monsignor says 95% of Christians don't know their own faith. Man, I was one, and I still am learning, but I know that I completely agree. And what the Puerto Rican Monsignor said, he says, this is what we forget. He took this guy who was in a seminary to becoming a priest, and he said, what do you see about old Bob here, who's laying pushing up daisies? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, what do you know about his life? And the Monsignor said about old Bob, he goes, look, he's freaking dead as a doornail. We could literally have 20 dancing girls, have him cavort around his tombstone, and he would care less. He said it in a way that's even funnier than what I just said, because he's dead. He has no sense of his surroundings. The thing with Jesus, Jesus was exactly like old Bob, not pushing up daisies, but he was in the tomb on the cross. All right. He was pushing up the equivalent of daisies. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he began to move. His body got warm. His blood started flowing. He began to see. He began to talk. But he was just like old Bob. That either that happened or it didn't. One of these two things exist. They're mutually exclusive. One of these things existed, the other did not. Either Jesus rose from the dead or he did not. That's what you have to think about. And when you're practicing your faith, man, as a Christian, why go into the freaking just all the legalistic stuff? You say, did Jesus die? Yes. Did he rise again from the cross or rise again after he was crucified? That's the debate. And if you can convince people that there's enough evidence to say it probably did, probably makes sense, which is the whole thing reading about this crucifixion book about Peter. Here's Peter. See, I never even thought about this until I just read it. He didn't say this, but you think about the crucifixion, the not just the demeaning, but the horrific nature of being crucified on the cross. It's not just like a death of the guillotine. In fact, what Martin does, he goes in there and uses all these examples of Josephus and Tacitus and all these guys and other not even Christian or Jewish writers who literally said that people would much rather have a quick death than die of crucifixion, because crucifixion was the ultimate torture. Anyway, so the little girl says to Peter, "Hey, you know that guy? You know, the one Jesus was being whipped before as he was being tortured before they put him on the cross." And Peter said, "No, I don't. No, I don't." And she goes, yeah, you do. He goes, no. And then he goes, yeah, you do. Remember the three crows, the three denials before the crow. Why did Peter do that? Because he was scared crapless of being crucified. He goes, I don't want to be thrown in with that guy, Jesus, because being crucified is like the worst thing that could ever possibly happen. And then suddenly out of nowhere, Peter is no longer worried about being crucified. I just find that to be exhilarating. Well, it's all fake. Okay, we could argue that. But the premise is, did he exist? Did he die on the cross? And did he deny Jesus? Or was he at least concerned about being thrown in with Jesus? And if so, I mean, how can you? I mean, look, you don't have to believe it. But why get into legalistic things? I was reading, who's the guy? Bart Ehrman, listen to one of his podcast where the guy from Unbelievable, the English guy who does Christian apologetics, but he's good. He brings on atheists. Ehrman's on atheists. He's an agnostic, a very well-known, a very renowned scholar of Christianity. He's just agnostic. And he's saying, I forgot what it was, when, what's the name? Judas died. He was on the cross. I forgot, or he hung himself. He was hanging from the noose and then on a tree. And then another one had Judas, he had fallen and his guts, his intestines blew out or something like that. And Bart Ehrman's like, yeah, so which one is it? Is he hanging from the tree? Has he killed himself, or is he on the ground? His intestines have blown open. And I'm thinking, well, they could easily both be true. Could he not have fallen off the thing and fallen onto the ground and have wild dogs or other people who hated Judas who attacked? I mean, whatever it could be. I mean, those two things are not mutually exclusive. But Jesus rising from the dead or not is mutually exclusive. And the whole point about that is you got to know what's going on. And reading and thinking about it is what I do. I don't know why I went off that tangent, but there you go. That's old Josh going off his tangents. So my man or lady, Cute Humor, says, I'm not surprised of gold going up. A lot of folks at my top Fortune 1000 company is preparing itself for recession. For the love of the good Lord, we're still preparing for recession. Look, we're always preparing for recession. I got no qualm with that, but my goodness, they're still doing it. Remember the inverted yield curve? They're preparing for a recession coming. It's always coming, man. I did a video last year, probably about this time, of saying recession is coming. The inverted yield curve is 100% correct in predicting recession. But so is it me breathing. So is it me eating carrots. Every time I pet Pablo, that predicts a recession, because recessions happen. They happen. No matter what you do, a recession is going to happen. And then you can trace it back to something, the NFC win or whatever it is. It's crazy. Paul says firearms and ammo be more valuable during apocalypse. Yeah, I think the food, yeah, mountain, mountain home, absolutely. I'm not expecting that, but I think many people buy lots of guns without the the related ammunition. Remember now, Ted Kennedy and the left were pushing tax on lead in order to make bullets more expensive. Don't forget. So just FYI, they don't have to ban the actual firearms or the actual bullets or the magazines. They just have to make the various things more expensive. So your ammunition will go through the roof. No, I think Vine always talked about that guy, Nate O'Brien, has like 200,000 subscribers. Anyone here also track the Fed's intelligent bear site? No, I don't. Dustin, my man, blows my mind. People don't have a financial plan. A goal without a plan is a wish. Yeah. Exactly, Scott. I don't know what Vital Earth like to make real money, man. $2,500 a month. I'm not. I'm not. I'll take it. Mike says, "Hey Josh, you should maximize your video if you're not sharing other content." I don't know what that means. Maximize your video if you're not sharing other content. I'm not sure what you mean, Mike. Have you ever worked with a client who had a failed pension but continued to get paid by PBGC? Lots, Mike C. Lots of airline workers. Absolutely. Ooh, 28-7 Green Bay end of the third. 28-17. Ooh, they got the ball at their own 34, 2nd and 2. Man, let's see, 11. They need to get a field goal. Come on. Yeah, 2,500 a month on YouTube is quite good, actually. Trust me, I've talked to some people who've got many more subscribers I have, and they're not making that kind. And the reason is because it's financial planning. Anything that's financial related gets paid, that's for sure. No, you can get rid of ads by paying the premium, $9.99 a month for YouTube Premium, no ads, and you can listen to it while your phone is like this, or you have your phone like that. You can listen to it, your phone's off. You can listen to it while you're watching other. It's $9.99, man. The best deal going for sure. Tobacco, whiskey, and coffee, all good for bartering. Yeah, I agree with that. Working stiff, right on, man. Tobacco, whiskey, and coffee. Actually, it's interesting you said coffee. I keep a lot of coffee for sure, frozen, and it's already been whatever, you know what I'm saying, those air sealed bags or whatever it's called. I think coffee for people's preps, coffee is way overlooked. People kill for coffee if there's none to be had. And that's not just for the apocalypse. That's for if there's a problem getting coffee in here. Coffee is huge for sure. All right, Q Humor already put his 6,000 as Roth. Right on. Well, recently a so-called expert says we don't know how the Romans did the crucifixions because they never left records for it. Who's that so-called expert, Scott? That's freaking what? A so-called expert says we don't know how the Romans did crucifixions because they never left records for it. That's freaking insane, man. All right, money don't discriminate. Take it from old Bernie. All right. All right, so Amazon PE is 83. I just couldn't buy that. That's too high for me. A PE ratio of 83. I don't look. I know everyone loves Amazon, but everyone loved all these other companies as well. Mike said we lived outside Seattle for 4 years now. It's been 3 times they've asked for special tax increase to fund schools. Yep. The average amount of people got pensions like 20%. I agree, man. It's you're on your own here, and the best way to make sure you're good is not have debt, man. That's for sure. Let's see. I missed a couple things here. Oops. Looks like I missed a lot more. Man, alive. All right, hold on a second. I got to go back here. Here we go. Okay. Amazon starting to show problems, getting too big. Forsyth County, right up in the north, is much cheaper than Fulton, and Yeah, but it's just so developed, man. Cherokee County is the county for me for sure. Huntsville, Alabama, right on, Curtis. Ad revenue is the next big income stream for Amazon. How are they going to do that though? I used to, I don't anymore, to get my book out there. Probably should do that up again. Actually, now I think about it. I was doing some ads, some paid ads on Amazon, I think it's AWS for my book on for Roth. How would they get the ad revenue? Because the thing with YouTube is they throw these ads while people are watching, which is kind of like TV. I don't know. Yeah. Missy says 6,200 property tax in New Hampshire on median house, like everyone else, is nothing special. Yeah, but you don't have state income tax or a sales tax. I know well. When we go to Boston, we go back to Maine, and my folks would always stop at the Portsmouth right there before we hit Kittery to get their smokes and alcohol tax free. I remember we probably went to 5 Red Sox games, and we go down every single time we come back to Maine. We'd stop at that Portsmouth. I can see it right now, big red building. Stop it, and like, oh God, we have to stop again. Yep, hold my beer. That's back in the 70s, man, when things were a lot more free. You know what I'm saying? And we stopped there, no sales tax or income tax, and always buy their smokes and alcohol there. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying too. Not bad for no state income tax. Exactly. Amazon expanding here in Nashville, as is many other. I can see right now, man, cute humor a lot in Nashville. Why would you want to be in a place like AOC in New York or whatever those socialists are in Seattle? You say, screw that, man. Cost of living here is too much. These people are friggin' taking advantage of us. So let's move someplace where we're wanted. Nashville's a big lib town too, by the way. Don't forget country music. Those folks who run national country music, bunch of libs. I listen to this guy. He doesn't talk politics, but Grady Smith. You should subscribe to him if you like country music. I love his YouTube channel. He talks about what, like the bro country and just how horrible that was. And I could not agree more. But anyway, Nashville's a big lib city, but it's not as lib as Seattle and New York, that's for sure. All right. How delayed is this video feed okay. Moon, I'm delayed. There's no delay. It's just, I just literally read the comments. I yap on it. Sometimes, me, I can yap a lot, believe it or not. Amazon's got too big. It wants to take on FedEx, UPS with their own Amazon jets. It wants to take on Netflix stream. And it's already taken on Netflix in some regard. Here's where I think Amazon can make headway, man. Amazon can take on the investment firms who are charging too much. I cannot wait till they enter the business. They're gonna. You can see this a mile away. Amazon says, why in God's name should you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, pay 1% for some ass clown to manage your funds who doesn't know what the hell he's doing? I talked to a guy the other day who's talked to his advisor who never even heard the Secure Act. It's like Amazon says, screw all that. We'll do it all for you. You already trust us. We'll do it for you for friggin' 25 basis points on a robo-advisor. And we'll partner out with some guy you can talk to, for, I don't know, freaking $500 a year or something like that. I'm telling you right now, Amazon is going to partner with Garrett Financial Planning Network. I'm just saying it. I am the first to say this. So you've heard it here first. Amazon is going to partner with Garrett Financial Planning Network because Garrett Financial Planning Network does hourly charge. And they're going to say, we're going to run the money for 25 basis points. And when they want financial planning, we're going to refer them to you at Garrett Financial Planning Network. You heard it here first. When that happens, it is going to be freaking awesome because all these clowns who are charging a point, 100 basis points to manage money, it's actually that they're hurting their clients. We all know this. It's not debatable. They're hurting their clients. They're doing crappy financial plans. It's all based on freaking, just a model anyway. It's not customized. And we know this. Are there some firms that do customization? I'll say yes, just because I'm sure someone said, well, we do customized approach. Do you really? Do you really do customized approach, or you just put them in models? I mean, come on, let's be realistic here. Because we follow the modern portfolio theory, and modern portfolio theory kiss my butt too. KMB. Anyway, so what's going to happen is Amazon is going to partner with Garrett Financial Planning, and they're going to say, I'm telling you, and then the whole industry is going to blow up in a wonderful thing. It's a creative destruction. It's what's the guy's name? Schrumpter. And it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. And then real financial planners are going to say, you know something, screw managing people's money. We're not bringing any value. We're actually hurting it. So let's go to the old thing of do real financial planning. Crazy. So crazy it's going to work. And so many people are going to get freaking out of business because they don't know what they're doing. They're not students of the game. They're not students of the business. Yeah, there's Jerry. Jerry, right on, man. The video is not delayed. Josh is just taking his time going through comments. Or Jerry, you could say he's just yapping. Missy, low-wage workers have a harder time in New Hampshire. High-wage workers have a much easier time to stay with only property tax. I agree with that 100%, Missy, 100%. CJ says, Vinyl says Walmart's pretty yeah, I think so, Vinyl. I think Walmart is not. I think Walmart is going to be part of the movement, or what's the word I'm looking for? I think people overlook Walmart. I really, really do. I go to Walmart all the flipping time, man. You guys, CJ, my man saying he's going to bed. Do you want to go to sleep? Too early for you? I'm just joking. It's a joke. Being funny. I know it's not that funny, but it makes me laugh. Amazon is still a disruptor. Yeah, no, I agree, James. Yeah, right on. CJ said, God bless you for all the knowledge. You got it, man. Hey, Jack, right on. There you go. Thursday, he's retiring. He moved his 401k to a money market a couple weeks ago, so I'd not be worried about it. Move it to Vanguard. Hold on just a second. Oh, no. What happened, man? So Green Bay couldn't convert on a 2nd and 2. Now Seattle's got the ball with 13. You know what's going to happen here, man. They're down by 11. They're going to get 2 touchdowns. Way to go, Jack. Yeah, I'd move to Vanguard. What, Jack? I don't know. I don't know how old you are. Presumably, I moved to Vanguard as long as you're over the age of 59 and a half. Amazon Blue Origin Space. Whoa. Green Bay just scored it. I don't think so. Oh, okay. That was when it was 20. Okay, gotcha. The Johnsons probably get most of their money from net interest income. I don't think so. Wasn't Bogle a Canes fan? Yeah, probably. Bogle was raised in the 50s. All those guys were Keynesians back then. I'll be targeted for a layoff if I don't save and invest. Dustin said he registered with Democrats so he can vote against Pelosi. Ooh. Oh, man. All corporations are playing, yeah, I agree, playing the corporate justice, social justice, corporate virtue signaling game. Could not agree more. Missy says generational transfer is always difficult. By the time generation number 3 comes in, forget it. I completely agree with that. Talk about the Abigail Johnson is CEO of Fidelity. Yeah, this is the daughter of Woody, right? I could not agree more, Missy, that once the 3rd generation gets it, it's over without question. I'm Gen X, okay. Gen X, gotcha. If you're going to go index, remember 5 companies are. That's a good point, man. If you're going to do index, remember 5 companies are the S&P 500. 20% of the S&P 500. I think that gets overlooked a lot. Actually, a lot of people think the S&P 500 is diversified. It's almost like the bond index. Remember, the bond index, 70 to 75% is that of government debt, of U.S. government debt, because the biggest constituents are the biggest firms or governments which have the most debt. Right? And the U.S. is by far and away the biggest. Man. See, I just got a first down. All right, I'm going to stop watching this. I'm not watching. I'm just doing highlighting it on Yahoo. I freaking hate Seattle. You do help people, says Jimmy, and I've helped me on a lot of financials. Right on, brother. I do somewhat follow the idea of equal weighted index. I'm a fan of the equal weighted index because it does spread out some of that risk from those large top 5 companies. I don't think I think Fidelity has equal weighted index, and I don't think Vanguard does. Maybe I don't think they do. So equal weighted index are literally, so you got 500 constituents of the S&P 500. Each represents 1/500th of the S&P 500, which means, you know, when the 20% of the S&P 500 cap weighted, like Vinyl was saying, goes up, you're not going to get the benefit of that. But when the 20% of those 5 stocks get hammered, you're not going to get the negative of that either, because you're equally weighted your index. I'm actually a fan of that. I favor smaller companies, more value oriented, because the S&P 500 is typically a momentum play. The growth is growing while the value stocks are lagging. And what happens, generally speaking, if you look, there is something called trends and momentum. I absolutely believe in that. So the S&P 500 has more trends and momentum, which is the bigger the company is, the more it represents of the S&P 500. And that can pose a problem when the momentum stops and it takes a tumble for sure. Oh yeah, we talked about the commissions on American funds or any fund. You can spread out you don't spread out the commissions, but you say, look, if I'm going to invest more money over 13 months, it's a statement of intention, where you can say, hey, look, you know, I don't want to pay 5% because I can put another 250,000 there, so I should only pay 2.5 or whatever your fee is. They are it's funny, Missy. My mom said on Facebook, she can't believe she raised 3 Trump supporters. Yeah, it's funny. My mom was very disappointed. Raised 3 Trumps, but I'm not on Facebook. My wife just told me that. I thought that I chuckled at that. My mom and I have had a very rocky relationship. Let's just put it that way. Sometimes it's on the good, sometimes it's bad. Right now, we're on the good, and I'm sure in a matter of time we'll be on the bad, and we'll come back on the good. It's just it is. My mom's crazy. She probably thinks I'm crazy, but you know, it's the nature of the beast. I don't have a relationship with my dad at all. He can KMB, but I have no qualm with that, saying that at all. But at the end of the day, my mom she's nuts, and I frankly wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I wish I had a normal relationship with my parents. I do, but I don't. And you know, one of the reasons I think I'm a good dad, and maybe I'm not, but I like to think I am, is because I saw what not to do, which was my insane parents. So it's all good. You're way out there as a kid. I'm telling you, man. Lots of Christian apologists on YouTube. Yep. Lots of questions about it. I'll get the answer explained. Yeah. You question the Bible. I don't want to, we already talked enough about that. Theology is just as confusing as investing. Tertullian says one thing. Jack Bogle says something else. I'm not sure who Tertullian is. Who has the lowest fees to handle retirement funds? At this stage, Glenn, it's a freaking race to bottom. Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, index funds, you're fine. I mean, without question, you're fine. 4 basis points to 3 basis points to 5 basis points. All right, hold on just a second. I gotta hit refresh. All right. All right, let's see here. Yeah, 3 to 4. Well, this happens. Moon says 3 to 4 occasions he's had subpar Fidelity experiences. Customer service reps, a thinly veiled patronizing tone. Then we had that USA. Oh boy, first and goal to the Green Bay 5 with 10 minutes left. Where does Right Capital show the taxes due from a Roth conversion? It's going to come into your go to retirement cash flows accounts. So you got retirement cash flows accounts, and then under there it'll say withdrawals from accounts, and that'll show you exactly how much taxes you pay. That'll show you, or not exactly how many taxes you pay. It'll show you from what accounts the taxes you paid. Where the taxes are due, we'll show it on there's a cash flow. It'll say explicitly taxes. It'll say taxes, what your taxes are. So how you figure it out is I'm sure there's other ways to figure out the exact amount of what that Roth conversion would cost you in taxes. But you just say, okay, if I do 150,000 Roth conversion, it costs you 28,000 bucks in taxes. If I do nothing Roth conversion, it costs you 10,000 bucks in taxes. And there you go. That's how you do it. Just got to play around the numbers a little bit. The more you get used to those spreadsheets they got on there, the better it is. So I tell everybody, just play around the numbers, get used to it for sure. If you have 82,000 a year, Peter, your provisional income, you're going to pay 85% taxes, or you're going to pay tax on 85% of your Social Security. There's just no getting around that. And that's a problem. A lot of people got pensions for sure. All right. If they cancel, they'll probably be in a 25% tax bracket at 82%. I don't think so, man. 82%, take out your standard deduction, and then you'll have personal exemptions back. You'll be in the 15%. ATF report estimated 423 million firearms and 8.1 billion rounds of ammo in circulation. And yet we're safer today than we've ever been. Isn't that nuts? As my man John Lott said, who I got his book back there, more guns, less crime. In fact, I'll show it to you. Where is it? Right here. Did not get this signed, but John Lott, more guns, less crime. University of Chicago Press. And this was one of the first editions of this from 1998, my friends, 1998. So I've been a staunch libertarian, or I've been a civil rights member of everyone should have the right to own a firearm. Everyone, regardless of where you live, because you don't have a right, you have a right to free speech regardless of where you live. And we know the Second Amendment was very explicit, not towards a militia, but that's why they say no free man shall be debarred the use of a firearm. We know this, which is why the Heller rule, the Supreme Court won, and it said once and for all that we do have an individual right to own a firearm. Not debatable. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'll never give them up anyway. They can pass all the rules and regulations. They're gonna have to come and throw me in jail. That's all there's to it. I will never, ever give up my rights to a firearm. Ever. There's no argument anyone can make. No, anyone says, don't you think? No. We've done enough. We don't need any more. We don't need any more. We've done everything we can, and yet we have 423 million firearms in the good old USA, and we are safer today than any other time in history. We're doing just fine. My man Sam is on here, right? Christian and all religions are in serious decline. Young people see the wars, starving people, and unfairness and wonder how there can be a God. They're going to blame God for what human beings do. That's weird to me. Okay. That's odd, because the funny thing was when you see the wars, starving people, and unfairness under atheistic societies, communism, so are young people blaming socialism and communism? No, because we know, at least in America, we're subject to this thing called affluenza. We're so damn rich. We're guilty. So we go to socialism and communism, which killed a hell of a lot more people than any crusader could ever imagine. And yet they're not blaming that theology, which it certainly is, but instead they're blaming the theology of a Christian or a religion. That seems very odd to me how that can go hand in hand. Blame God for the actions of human beings, but don't blame that theology for the actions of human beings when that theology says there is no God. Okay. At the end of the day, I don't think so. I think just because people in the West are living large, I am not worried at all, man. I am not worried in the least. Not in the least. And the reason is because we know when the word is out there through trials and tribulations, people get on their knees and say, God, I can't do this on my own. We know for a fact, seems like this is biblical, that a rich man has a harder time going to heaven than a camel does through an eye of a needle, because rich people don't need God. We got it all figured out. We don't need God. Anyway, it's all good. But good try, Sam. Good try. Oh, man. Do you think the U.S. stock market is overvalued, like all the talking heads have been saying? No, because what would be undervalued for what you to put your money in? Bonds are way overvalued to stocks. I do not think so at all. Not in the least, man. Is it overvalued relative to historical norms? Yeah, but look at bonds. Literally, you look at bond stocks and real estate. I mean, all of them are expensive. Stocks are the least expensive of the three, so I'm all for it. Jack says he's 51. We have a few rentals still and have Roth IRAs with around 300,000. We lent out to our other real estate investors. Wow, that's pretty good, man. BC, Boston College 6, it sounds like. Pays 8.553 per share dividend. Not sure what the price is. That's what matters. It has a 5-star rating. Don't know anything about it. You can live stream on your phone with the NFL. I don't want to live stream. I would literally get too caught up in it, and it bothers me. I would not recommend starting stock picking in career and retirement. I agree with that. I don't think anyone should have a stock picking career anyway. Josh got disowned by his own mom for loving Trump. Yeah. I can't believe I raised a Bernie supporter, says Apollo 14. Oh my goodness. Because think about it, Apollo. Bernie just promises crap. He just says, we're going to give you stuff. Yeah, I want stuff. Oh man. Frazzled Halla says OMG. I'm not sure what he or she is saying OMG for, but my sneaky suspicion he doesn't like my take on guns or Trumpster, and that's fine. It's all good. I'm like, man, I've never claimed. It's funny. I get people. You used to talk all financial plans. No, I've always talked. The video I made my most money on, TurboTax, which I did a year ago, right about this week. People say, you should stop talking politics. I was like, huh? I was just talking about the Trump tax bill. It's crazy. I did my 4th video I ever did. I said, God bless fossil fuels. And look, I do a lot of videos, but I don't think I've ever shied away from my political leanings. Not a fan of the Republican Party en masse. I am a fan of the Trumpster. Definitely not a fan of the Democratic Party, even though I was born and raised a far, far, far left Democrat. If it wasn't the Trumpster, I'd vote for Libertarians, but Libertarians can KMB too. Gary Johnson is probably the only somewhat Libertarian guy. Bill Weld certainly is not a Libertarian. Now we got Lincoln Chaffee running for the Libertarian Party. These guys are all ass clowns, man. Harry Brown was a true Libertarian. I voted for Harry Brown in '96. I did not vote for Bob Dole. I had a Harry Brown for President t-shirt. I voted for Steve Forbes in the Republican primary in 2000. I think I ended up voting for Bush. Struggled to vote for John McCain, man. Struggled to vote for McCain. I ended up voting for Palin, not John McCain. Mittens, I was excited about. I thought Mittens had. I thought Mittens had a good. I thought he sounded good, but man, I got to tell you, thank God he didn't win. I'm glad Obama won. Really, I am. I think Obama made a lot of us realize the catastrophe that was Bush Obama, the 16 years of Bush Obama. We recognize they're all part of the same crew, man. All part of the same crew. And a lot of people on my side didn't realize that. And we thought the Republican Party was meaningful and was true to its core of small government. And we are simply have seen the light. That's not true. And look, at the end of the day, Trump is the guy who's the true disruptor. Bernie isn't. When Bernie sold his soul to Hillary Clinton, that showed me he's just a regular guy. However, believe it or not, I am thinking about donating to AOC. I like her. I don't like her politics, but I like how she's taking on the Democrats. I like that a lot. I like that she is true to her word when it comes to Green New Deal. I think it's despicable, the Green New Deal, but at least she's saying what they're meaning. And more power to her. I love it. I love what she's saying. I don't like her politics in the least, but I like the fact she's not hiding behind the facade of wanting to take over our economy with socialism. That's great. And I do agree a couple of things with her. I forgot what they were off the top of my head, but I do agree with a couple of things. And I hope she keeps going. I think it's good for my side, the Trumpster side of the aisle. But also I like the fact that she's destroying the Democratic Party from within. That's great. I think it's fantastic. And I hope she keeps at it. And so she raised $5 million. And the Democratic committee says, we want some of that money. She goes, why would I give you some of that money so you can primary me, is what they're trying to do. So hey, good on her, man. I don't think I don't think she's all that bright in terms of her political thinking, but she's young. I mean, hell, when I was she's 30, something like that, 28. When I was her age, I was stupid. And you grow and you get older and you see things the way they are. So good on her, man. I hope she takes over the Democratic Party. I think it'd be good for freedom in America. I love it. So I might donate to AOC, as a matter of fact. That's probably the only Democrat I'd donate to. Yeah, I might do that. We shall see. It won't be much, maybe $100 or something like that, but it'd be kind of cool to have my name on the opensecrets.org. Josh Scanlon donated to Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and AOC. I'd like that. That'd be fun. I might do that just for that. So people say, ooh, take on the establishment, man. I love anyone who does it. It is awesome to watch them all skedaddle. All right, so I guess we're up against it here. Let's see. You get the revenue by pretending that you're going to tax the rich for it, then you tax everyone for you. Some guy called me who was it? A guy who's on here quite a bit. He called me. He said, I'm letting my far left show too much. I said, jeez, man. That was funny. My man Lenny, I said, what? Crazy. Sam again says, why would God allow these things to happen? Because he gives us freedom, man. It's come on. Jeez. He says, why I don't understand. There's a guy, 8-year-old kid in Maine who got killed by a car crash because there's ice on the ground. I mean, we're going to say, why would God allow that to happen? I mean, why is it okay? I don't understand. Like, where do we want God to step in and say, no, God, not there, but over here we want you to step in. We want God to step in when they're slaughtering in Rwanda, but we don't want God to step in when 50,000 people die in car crashes and another 35,000 people die of overdose. I mean, what is it? We want God to step in when my parents die, but we don't want God to step in when those parents die because it's natural. I mean, you can't. What is this? We don't have a right to ask God to step in. No, man. Why? If God were to step in, why would he allow us to live like this? He would say, the first thing we're doing is we're getting rid of you in America and giving it to those people in all these other countries. That's what God would step in to do to make it fair. I guarantee, though, people say, that's not fair. I don't like that whole thing. Why would God step in? Because where would it stop? And then what's the freedom? God wants a relationship, man. He wants a relationship on your own. He doesn't want to force you to love him, but he wants to love you, which is why he sent Jesus to die for you. And that Muslim guy, that black guy in Nigeria, that freaking Norwegian guy, the guy who hates God, he sent God to die, Jesus to die for everyone. But he wants you to come to him on his accord, which is from him not pushing you into there. And as always, we're always reciting what C.S. Lewis said. C.S. Lewis said, we say on earth, God, thy will be done. God says, when you go to St. Peter and you open the pearly gates, God says, you hate me, thy will be done. God doesn't banish anybody. God says, all are welcome, all come to me, but you're coming to me on your own, which is on your own self-will, on your own sense of you need to have forgiveness and you need to believe. Believing is enough. You have to ask for forgiveness too, because remember, the devil believed. We know that for a fact. The devil believed that Jesus was the Son of God. So believing in Jesus as the Son of God is enough. You have to have humility to ask for forgiveness, to say, man, God, I am. Whew. And we can see Paul was the most humble person when it came to his asking for forgiveness as there was. So anyway, at the end of the day, the idea that God's, we're going to put 50 cents in the Coke machine, and God, we want to pull you out now, but we're going to put you back when we don't want you anymore. It doesn't work like that. And so while humanity does all kinds of dastardly things, humanity also does all kinds of wonderful things too. The issue is you only hear about the dastardly things. You never hear about the wonderful things. So George Mitchell, the guy who basically developed fracking, some would argue it is dastardly. I don't think so. The way we're living now is a hell of a lot better than we were 20 years ago, not relying on Saudi Arabia, certainly not relying on Iran for oil, Iraq. We're not relying on those kinds anymore. And what will that do later on down the road? I have a sneaky suspicion the Middle East is going to be becoming quite quite fond of each other, or at least peaceful towards each other, as they realize they don't control the situation anymore. And I can't wait. It's going to be great. And so humanity is progressing on a wonderful way, without question. Is good, but unfortunately, with affluence becomes a less reliance on God. And God says, I'll be here when you're ready. I'll be here. Sometimes God shows up to people in the way he does it. Don't know how, why, or when. I just know at the end of the day, God is there, and he'll accept you with all open arms. When you're ready to find him, that's fine. But the idea, why does God let such bad things happen? And how about those kids in St. Jude's? How come God let that happen? It's weird how no one ever says though about the 8-year-old kid who dies of a car crash. Why did God let that happen? But they do say, how come God lets communists take over and kill the Khmer Rouge? Freaking what, 20% of the Cambodia. I mean, why did God let that happen? We all say that's bad. But then all the people who die, millions of people of lung cancer from pollution a year because they have to burn cow dung and freaking wood in their homes for heating and to heat their homes and to heat their food. They die of freaking all that crap they're breathing in their lungs. And yet God, how let that happen? He doesn't. He says, I gave you the intelligence to come up with fracking so you could bring natural gas to these people and rescue the millions of people who die every year, young children in third world countries, because they have to use cow dung and freaking wood to heat their homes and heat their foods. And thus they're breathing toxic chemicals that are destroying them and causing massive amounts of lung pollution. Why does God let that happen? He doesn't. He says, I'm giving you the brain power for George Mitchell to develop fracking. Unfortunately, human beings get in the way. They say, no pipelines. Pipelines are evil, as they're freaking flying around the world all over the place, protesting pipelines. Freaking reading about, what's his name, Joaquin Phoenix protesting that Jane Fonda thing. He says, yeah, I did have to fly the protest, but I still eat a vegan diet. Freaking scumbag. You're trying to protest for poor people that have access to clean energy, i.e. through either oil, through natural gas, and you're trying to say that you're freaking giving two craps about these people, and these people are dying all over the world because you're trying to freaking put roadblocks on their ability to get access to this stuff. They can all kiss my butt. KMB, man, KMB. Not you, Sam, because you're my man and all, but freaking all these rich guys, freaking scumbags. And I just read into that Greta Thunberg. Apparently, her Facebook page got Facebook did something that allowed people to see that she's not writing crap. It's her freaking dad, dude. Her dad's writing all this crap. Pretend like he's her. I'm like, you're such a scumbag, dude. You're using your little girl who's got Asperger's, whatever the hell it is, to promote a cause that you would not get traction for. You freaking scumbag. That's child abuse. And all these guys should be ashamed of themselves, but they're not. All right, anyway. My man Paul says, I can't be a libertarian because we don't live in the colonial America anymore. 9 on serious guy. Yeah, all right. I don't like Donald, but I love President Trump. Probably the best leader since Eisenhower. Remember, Eisenhower said not just the military industrial complex, the educational industrial complex too. Watch or read it, his farewell speech. It is freaking insane how prescient it was to see what he was saying about the educational industrial complex. It's nuts. And you're sitting there thinking, holy crap, Ike, you're the man. Not only did you send natural guardsmen so little black girls could go to school without being accosted by freaking grown white men, but you also saw what was going to happen not only with military war, but also with education. I'm shocked about how smart that guy was. Unfortunately, is Eisenhower's heart attack that led us to this freaking high fat or low fat, high carb insanity. Eisenhower's doctor was looking, when Eisenhower had a heart attack, his doctor was looking for reasons why. He came across Ansel Keys in the University of Minnesota, and the rest is history. How many people died because of that freaking clown? with this stupid 7-country study that was fake news. Oh, it just infuriates me. But we didn't know that back then. And so we followed the government, who was only there to look for us and say, hey, we're only here to help with with high carbs and low fat products, which we couldn't eat butter, couldn't eat bacon, couldn't eat eggs because cholesterol, all that. How many people got obese, died of heart disease because of these freaking clowns? And I don't blame Eisenhower for that. I blame Ansel Keys. Yeah. All right. When calculating PIH, you add QUA. I don't know what QUA is, Angela. Some guy on YouTube thinks Jesus returns in 2028. Yeah. Ay. I've also got a live stream on theology going so I can get some investment and retirement info. Hi, Josh. When calculating how much Social Security will be taxed, you add cap gains when you know your tax bracket for the gains will be 0. No, because do you know your yes, you would. Remember, if you're do you know your capital gains are going to be 0 when Social Security is thrown in there? You see what I'm saying? So it's almost reverse engineering. You're saying I got 15,000 long-term capital gains, but because my marginal tax rate is 12, it'll be 0. Well, we don't know your marginal tax rate is 12 when we throw your Social Security stuff in there. So how do we know what your Social Security is going to be taxed? Is because the $15,000 of long-term capital gains is part of the provisional income. So you got to throw your $15,000 of capital gains to see if that affects your provisional income for Social Security taxation, which will affect whether or not that $15,000 is subject to taxes. Yay! The tax code, love it. I love you, Josh. You helped me in the future, and you're a good man. Sandy, all right. All right, man. I guess we're out of here. Nah, libertarians. Yeah, I got this. No. Don't throw all libertarians in there with open borders, Doug. I've had a number of libertarians. I did a couple of videos on this about Brian Kaplan and his stupid open borders thing, which ticks me off. And his argument is absolutely infantile. I was stunned because I'm such a big fan of Brian Kaplan. He goes by Alma Mater. He teaches there as an economics professor. I never had him. I was stunned how bad his argument was. And then he threw the old, it's immoral, to be against open borders. And I mean, I was like, dude, that's like the scourge of the, I wrap myself in the flag to say it's a patriot. I hate that stuff. Oh, check on the score. Come on, Packers. Do not lose this game. Ooh, okay. Oh, all right. So the Green Bay's got the ball at Seattle's 45, 2nd and 9 with 2 minutes left. Ooh, that's a tough one. Do you run the ball there to get the 2-minute warning, or do you throw to try to lock in that game? Ooh, now it's 3rd and 9. Ew, I think you got to throw here, man. You know Seattle's going to get the ball back, get a touchdown, right, and win by 1. You know that. You can see that a mile away, can't you? 2-minute warning, 3rd and 9. Okay. So what do you do? How many timeouts does Seattle have here? Do you run if you're Green Bay if Seattle's got no timeouts, or do you try to end this once and for all? Do we see how many timeouts Seattle? Can you all see how many timeouts does Seattle have? I think you got to go for it. I think you got to go for the win, man. I think you got to pass the ball here to try to at least get in field goal range. You're a good man, Sam. I don't care what they say. Hey, all right, so Pablo's barking. That must mean it's time to go night-night. All right, y'all. I didn't mean to get this into too theological. But I appreciate it. I think. Ooh, 2 minutes left. So you heard it here first. I'm predicting Seattle wins by 1 point. You heard it here first. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks for all you do, everybody. 1 timeout. Ooh, so you run the ball and make Seattle calls last time out? I think you gotta go with Aaron Rodgers. Let him throw it and try to put this game away. All right. Vero Beach. See you guys. Thanks, everybody.